In a world surrounded by franchises, reboots, and shared universes, an elite team of podcasters will risk body and soul to investigate the depths of intellectual properties, one multiverse, subgenre, and trend at a time. Who are we? We're the IP Squad. Welcome back to the IP Squad and our ongoing investigation into live-action adaptations of video games. I'm John Campbell. Once again, this is a full team coverage of the video games. We have to. It's a season so big we have to bring in all of our investigators. And lucky enough for you folks, maybe less lucky for him, I don't know. For the next couple episodes, we have Brendan Jones with us.
Hey, what illustrious ranks am I joining? I'm assuming Grigoni.
Yeah, we've had so far we've had a Mike Grigoni, we've had a Michael Listman, and we've had an Elliot Lewis.
Oh, okay, so all stars.
All stars. Yeah, this is the IP Squad All Star season.
Have any of the movies gotten a big thumbs up from anybody? Have you done an actually good one yet?
I think 1995's Mortal Kombat has been the closest to a thumbs up we've had.
I remember it.
Yeah.
And I remember that they tried.
I will say it is, yes, that is what it is, the most earnest one we've seen so far.
And man, again, the theme song to Mortal Kombat from the game, it's a blood rush. Doesn't matter if it's in a movie that's not so good.
They cue it like 5 times in the movie. They just can't stop. But we're not talking about Mortal Kombat. Instead,
we're not.
Very, it feels very right in the trajectory of these things, from Super Mario Brothers to your Mortal Kombats to Tomb Raider, and that really it does feel like these movies are following the trajectory of video games, like in this time for sure.
That's true. Are you doing these chronologically?
We sure are, of course.
Oh, okay, that's how you're doing it.
Yeah.
It does feel that way. I thought you were about to say it's appropriate that you assigned me these, only because I'm not a huge gamer. I have played several Tomb Raiders.
I figured you had played several Tomb Raiders, and the genre that we're in, I felt like, because that's the thing, is you and
it's the pulp stuff.
It's the pulp stuff, exactly, and, until we actually do an Indiana Jones season, which I don't know if we'll do, simply because that is well-trod ground. Yeah.
Very well-trod.
But obviously, that's a big touchstone for both of us, that franchise.
Of course.
So, and
boy, did this movie avoid the intelligence and fun.
One of the things I thought watching this the other day, and I had seen this movie when it came out in the theater, of course, because I was 12 years old when this came out, so I was exactly
I remember if I did the theater.
The target. By the way, when we get to next week's movie, I still don't know if I've actually ever seen it, but I both remember and don't remember watching it, but I definitely did see it.
I have.
This though, watching this, and this happens a lot when I watch these other high adventure movies, you just go, God, those Indiana Jones movies are good. They're it's a classic, oft imitated, never equaled.
That's exactly it. It is the thing that people will chase for the rest of time.
I mean, it's so funny that we're on the day we're recording this, long since passed, and the movie's probably to come out. I just saw the trailer this morning, though, for Guy Ritchie's new high adventure treasure hunting movie, which it looks super fun. But it's Guy Ritchie doing India. Guy Ritchie has a movie coming out called The Fountain of Youth, where John Krasinski and Natalie Portman are looking for the Fountain of Youth, and it looks very Indiana Jonesy.
Is it modern day?
Yeah.
Okay. And actually, I do respect that. It is challenging. And I would think that if someone had handed me Lara Croft Tomb Raider and said, okay, we want you to capture that pulp feel of Raiders in the modern day, it is tricky to put that feel in the modern day.
Yes.
However, this one went so hard, we're about to talk about it, but it goes so hard at trying to be 2000.
Yeah.
It's
No,
One of the worst things about this movie is the soundtrack.
oh, it's
horrid.
abysmal.
Horrid.
The final song cue, I laughed out loud when it was what it was. I was like, oh, of course, it was 2001. Yeah, this came out in the summer of 2001. This was a big old hit because obviously they made another one. It did. Yes, it was. Let's see here. I have the. It made $274 million on a $115 million budget. So pretty good. I mean, maybe not a big hit, but pretty good. Yeah. Pretty good.
It is a decent-sized hit. And we'll talk about its strengths and its weaknesses. Yeah. I don't think this is a total garbage fest, though it's not a good
I have the exact same reaction I feel like I had when I saw it before, which is like, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's not tough to watch.
It makes mistakes that would have been easily caught before the cameras rolled.
Yes.
That's infuriating. Some things you end up at the end of the day going, we did the best we could. But there are a few things structurally and just conceptually you're like, oh, that's not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, this is... I don't want to be... Because I always hate this criticism because we know how obviously studio films are made. But I will say the fact that there are 6 credited writers on this...
Yeah.
Like I said, that's kind of a lame criticism because it's not all the time. But in a situation like this, I can feel it here.
Yeah.
Aggressive. Yeah, 2001 is firm. You firmly know you're in 2001.
Yeah.
Instantly.
There's not a really like, it is aggressively of its time.
Yeah. No, and that's a thing that I think really... more so watching it now really hurts this movie, right? Because you're just like, it just like any young person watching this would be like, what is this?
Yes. Yeah. That's a mistake if you're going for something that is a franchise,
yeah, but
also something where this is a character who, the games until the reboot, they didn't do too much character work.
There'll be
there's not a huge, her backstory somewhat, but at the same time,
she's a rich lady with a missing father.
Yes, she's a incredibly capable Indiana Jones type.
Yeah.
But
that's the thing about
idea
these.
That she is.
That's kind of the thing about these movies when we talk about the Indiana Jones effect is like, I don't know, the character's sort of like an Indiana Jones type. Like that's how all these things start. The thing I think, and I've brought this up a few times, and I will continue to say this over the course of this season, I have no doubt. The thing about adapting video games that I think is, especially things like this, and I'll talk about this when we get to Uncharted way, way, way later in the season, is like these video games are playing on tropes from movies, but the turn is it's a video game version of that. So when you then come back around to making it a movie, it's that Ouroboros thing, right? Of like, well, wait a minute, now it's just... It was novel when it was like, oh, it's Indiana Jones, but it's a woman, and you play as her.
Right.
And now it's like, okay, well, now it just is a lame female version of Indiana Jones.
That's the problem. You've got to... There are a couple of things in the writing and a couple of scenes in this movie where they seem to want to address her differences. What makes her different. And yes, you can certainly bring up her background. She's extremely wealthy, and the fact that she is technically a lady. It's not good, but I liked the through line of like her butler guy, her assistant, always trying to like, could you please dress like a lady? And she's like, well I'm no lady.
Here's the thing about this. The thing about this movie in particular, right, and more so than the games even, is like, okay, we start with Indiana Jones, but we're going to toss in a little Batman. We're going to toss in a whole lot of James Bond, and I'm not even including the James Bond that's in this movie. Which is very weird to see.
That this, what's interesting is we have a movie that's
Baby
anchored by an American woman doing a British accent, and I think people are unfair to...
I think the British accent...
the worst I've heard.
No, I think it's fine.
But you've got an American woman doing British all through the movie, and you have a Brit doing an American accent, which is less successful all the way through it.
It's pretty bad.
It's weird. It's weird.
That's the thing. I think it is bad, the accent, but also it's further made weirder by how much I know what he sounds like. Normally,
there's that.
And also, there's a couple points where he does just sound like Daniel Craig.
Yeah, I would say that when you went to go see it the first time,
Yeah.
you were probably not tracking that. You
No.
don't know who this person
I had
is.
no idea who this guy was, but also when he got cast as Bond, I did not remember him from this movie. It's not like
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
there
that's
you go.
that Tomb Raider guy. I remembered him
Yeah.
from, I think, had to be around the same time. Road to Perdition was where he really popped to me.
Yeah, well, yes, I think, but for me, I think I was Layer Cake is where I
Well,
first went, who is this guy?
Layer Cake is the thing that got him Bond, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this the next year is Road to Perdition, and he's got an actual character to play in that, which is I think probably
Yeah.
because here he's just guy who's not Lara Croft.
Here's
Yeah.
the sweeping view, as I already
Yeah.
said, not
Yeah.
total shit fest,
No.
but also kind of just it
Pretty
didn't work.
forgettable.
There's a take that they're doing that it and I'm sure you've talked about this on because you mentioned that Mortal Kombat worked for you because it was earnest.
Yeah, I mean to some
This
extent, yeah.
this is not.
Right.
This is something where they're like, that's what you wanted, right, kids?
Yeah.
And that's always a mistake. It is very condescending.
Yes.
The places where it works best, unsurprisingly, are when it feels like the games, but it takes so long to get there.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh my God, she's tomb raiding.
Yeah.
Great. And there's some actually cool set piecey.
Well,
things.
because I will say,
Great.
I think actually, aside from of course the 2001 nature of stuff, I do think Simon West, who directed this, does a good job because the guy knows how to handle an action sequence.
Yeah,
he's
but
coming off.
here's
He's coming from Con Air.
Okay, but here's where he's going wrong.
Yeah.
It is the arch. I'm above this because if you're
Well-
above this, including the
Yeah.
people playing them, not saying that they are constantly winking, but there's a little bit of that.
Well,
it's a thing where there's no stakes. Raiders
Yeah.
is funny
Yeah.
and romantic,
Yeah.
and it has all the. But
Well, Yeah.
it is set in a world that you believe and you worry about Indy's life. Here, every move that Lara makes, whatever it is, action or just walking down the stairs, is punctuated by a look to the camera and like a smirk. Everything is posy. She poses constantly.
I'm 100% agree with you on that. That is exactly my problem with this movie, is that you have somebody who I agree certainly is very capable of giving good performances.
This movie let her down because I think she was a really good choice.
I remember at the time it was sort of like, oh yeah, who else would do it? Like it was kind of a thing, right? Of just like
it's not just the physicality.
No,
it's
but she
the fact
was
that she as a performer, especially when she was starting out, she was fierce. And the thing is, you buy it. Intelligence, you buy capability, and of course she's incredibly sexy, but don't call attention to it because that's all there. And instead, this movie keeps wanting to kind of stop and give her these like logo moments.
And the problem is that that's the entirety of her character. You never see this character be vulnerable. Not really. They come
there's
close
the little bit about,
in the stuff with the
Father, I
father.
miss you.
Yeah, they come close in the stuff with the father, which I got to say. Also, the gimmicky casting of her real father as her father in this, who is
and he does a fine British accent.
It's okay, but it's a little.
I think isn't this the last time they worked together? Because
well, I was. We know they have continued to have a very fraught relationship. I don't know what the current status of it is, but certainly over the years it has been.
We'll check in. I'll give him a
we'll
call.
check in.
I'll
Yeah. Hey, Johnny Voight, how you doing?
Are you guys talking?
Yeah, you talking?
Oh,
again?
what? You're near death and you're a crazy conservative? Oh.
I like.
Sorry to bother you.
I heard Liev Schreiber talking about working with him for 8 years on Ray Donovan, and he goes, "He's a heck of a nice guy. I just never ever bring up anything political, and we're fine. Like, if I just never ever even remotely mention any of my beliefs about anything, we have a perfectly fine working relationship." No, it's not great. I actually, I will say this, since we're talking about the cast. The guy I really enjoyed in this, even though it's quite arch, is it's Ian Glenn. Ian Glenn is having so much fucking fun and indicates a more fun movie that I wish I was watching.
Yes. And again, when I say things like, we let this person down.
Yeah.
Ian Glenn was always good.
So good.
But here he's younger than the thing that he...
Everyone knows him as Jorah Mormont.
The world woke up to how great he is.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going like, he was always
Yep.
that good. Why wasn't he leading man back then?
And yeah, that's the thing too. You look at him in this, and you're like, he's a handsome. I mean, he's a handsome older guy too, but
crazy handsome guy.
super
And plus
handsome
his
dude.
casting as like Bruce Wayne later, it's like, again, not good American accent. Let's talk
But
about that. Titans.
Visually, you're like,
Visually,
yeah, that guy was
especially
Batman.
here, you're like, oh yeah, young you. I could totally
That guy seems like a guy who was Batman in his younger days.
Mm-hmm.
I really like.
Do you say that to people about me when you're talking like,
Yeah.
Brendan seems like he could have been Batman in his younger days?
Yeah, I say that a lot. All the time. Yeah. No, he's great. I mean, and look, the guy certainly he's become a big deal in like prestige television, right? Because he does. He's on Silo. He's on The Rig.
Great work.
If you've seen The Rig,
I haven't seen The Rig.
The Rig is very fun. I think you'd enjoy it. It's weird supernatural stuff out in the middle of the water, and he's doing a lot of looks of like, what's that?
Is there a kaiju?
Maybe not a kaiju, but there's something in that water.
All right.
Yeah,
I was
check it out.
hoping for a kaiju.
No,
My entire life has been hoping to see.
You asked that about everything, and then I gotta say, the guy who I felt bad for was Noah Taylor, who I love, but he is just like, hello, I'm Bobo Q, like, and
exactly.
I'm just here to be like, oh dear, oh no,
I'm here to make just the nerd comments and the whole thing of I like when he's at his workstation, and of course what he's watching on his screen is some like old kid show that has robots in it. You're like, oh, I get it. He's a childlike eccentric, and I'm like, fuck off.
That's
he's always great.
That's one of the big problems with this movie, right? Is that everything is so
one of my favorite
stock.
cinematic Hitlers, by the way.
Well, another guy though.
People talk about Max.
No, and actually, I like that movie.
Again,
that's a good movie. Here's the man, I gotta say, this is actually sad. Is that this was the year after Almost Famous, which is where I remember first seeing Noah Taylor and really liking him in that. Oh boy, because I was gonna say like, well, obviously he went on to better stuff like Almost Famous, and I go, oh god, that was after this. Or that was before this. Anyway, he has continued to be. Oh yeah, he also played Hitler on Preacher.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of great. I didn't watch all of Preacher. I enjoyed it.
It's very good. It's very good. Once again, a guy whose career is has not been damaged, but it is just sort of a thing where this movie is just asking him like, it almost feels like the directors went up to him and was like, you know what to do. You know, like, you don't even, do I need to tell you anything? You read it. You got it. Because, even
it's not asking him, not asking much of him at all.
No, and for this movie,
him almost nothing to work
for this movie and next week's movie, I hope he made a boatload, and I'm sure he did because of how much these got. And actually, I enjoyed the butler guy for what little he's in it, even though once again, incredibly stock. Yeah, Chris Berry is the.
I will
butler.
say, the character does come from the games, but I can't remember if.
I don't think there's much, at least not in the earliest. I can't say I played every Tomb Raider game. But at least in the first few.
I also think that he's stereotypically in the games an older British guy. Here,
he's more Alfred-y. Here he's more like modern Alfred, where I mean, because you can't. I so thought of comic book Alfred when he's in his jammies, putting his tack vest on and getting a shotgun. I'm just like, oh wow, that is so.
The idea is that she's only going to hire people who are equally capable of taking care of themselves if it comes down to it.
One of my favorite scenes in the movie, and I mean that facetiously, even though it's a fine action sequence, but just like when the massive assault happens while she's just casually bungeeing around her living room.
Okay, here's one thing. I don't know if Bungie had just started and was like just now like a thing people were excited about.
I think it's certainly within the realm of that craze.
She spends so much time on vines and in the games, that would be a little bit of a level.
Sometimes, yeah.
She's not climbing or jumping as much in this as she does in the games. No. But this, apparently she does a lot of rope work constantly, a lot of rope gymnastics. I mean, I was a little bit done with it.
You do kind of just like, I don't even look at the trivia to know she must have spent a lot of time training to do that shit. because she
I will
does.
say again, this is her in her prime, and she's
Sure.
very fit, and she looks like she could be doing all that stuff for real. So
I mean that was the thing about that's also I think part of what I was saying. Like at the time, it was like, well, of course, who else was going to do it? Because it was like pretty quickly, she'd already won her Oscar, I think, at this point.
holy mackerel,
You know,
yeah.
but it pretty quickly it became like, oh yeah, you could be like an action lady. Like you've got the physicality to be. Well,
That's why I say this let her down, because
Yeah.
not that she should have been aiming for it, but I sit there going, this could have been a franchise if it was good, and she's the one who could have done it
Sure.
and made it better than it probably should have
Man,
been.
her career though, I gotta say, not to get
Weird.
lost in her IMDb, it is just constant. Like she made. I don't know if it's her or her agents or whatever, but like it is nothing but missed opportunities for all the fame she has. So many poorly chosen projects. Because right after this, she does Original Sin with Antonio Banderas. Do you remember that sexy sex movie they made?
Oh, yeah. I saw it years later on cable.
Yeah, you know, and it's and then she did between these two Tomb Raider movies, she makes that and then Life or Something Like It, where she tried to be a rom-com, which is her and Ed Burns. Just like, no, that's not at all where she should
Hey,
be.
you remember Ed Burns?
I like Ed Burns.
I like him, but talk about someone that everyone thought was going to be the next guy.
Yeah.
Because he was an auteur and
Yeah.
directed and
Yeah.
wrote his own stuff.
He still does. He still cobbles together $50,000 every couple years and makes a chatty New York movie.
All right. Well, God bless.
Yeah, but it was like that was another guy who I think took because like Saving Private Ryan really gave him a lot of cachet, and then
Yes.
the Ed Burns star vehicles weren't good,
No.
which is unfortunate. But yeah, it's just like, oh my god, and then it's like Taking Lives, and then she starts doing this movie is very important to her life because this is where they shot this in Myanmar, which she of course then that becomes like her whole life is about
Yes.
Myanmar.
Is that where she kept finding children?
She did adopt a kid from Myanmar, like right after this movie.
Was it perhaps one of the ghost girls that she meets throughout this thing?
It was
Shit.
one of those ghost girls. No, but like,
Should we dive into it plot, or just
well,
talk
we
about
don't do scene by scene plot as much on this show as we do
That's
over Meet the
fine,
Monsters.
because really,
Well, yeah.
that's
So
in-
we'll, you know, we'll go. I think another key thing we should mention, though, just to not that we, but like this is also firmly in the time that she's with Billy Bob Thornton, and the photos from the premiere are weird.
yeah.
So much so that
they've got their vials of each other's blood
yeah,
around
so
their
much
neck.
so that
Yeah.
Paramount only agreed to let her star in the movie if she took regular drug tests because they were really concerned about her lifestyle. I see that here in the trivia. I think that was fine. I don't know, but I just like they did. They were like, look, we don't have any actual evidence, but you seem like you're fucked up on drugs, like just based on what we're looking at, right?
We
Like,
have no proof. We've seen absolutely
Yeah.
no proof. However, you just seem like it.
you're telling me
okay?
you're sober and you're married to that guy? That's all I'm saying. Because
And actually, I love both of them.
I love
as
both
far
of them
as
too, and it
talents,
was-
but they hit at the right time to be just as eccentric as they were going to be.
yeah, absolutely, super
I'm
weird
glad.
couple.
Super weird.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that has damaged her as a movie star is that unfortunately her private life has always overshadowed the work.
Yeah,
It's
it's a shame.
It
I think,
is.
again.
It's too bad.
She's talented.
Sure, absolutely. And
And as we've already said, made perfect sense to be our Lara Croft.
except for, did you know this piece of trivia? Because I think this is a stupid and kind of creepy thing. The studio felt she did not reach the cup size of a Lara Croft, and therefore padded her bras.
They patted her? Oh,
Yep.
man.
Yeah, because this is according to trivia. She's I don't just off the top of my head know Angelina Jolie's bra size. But
Whoa. The first day we met,
Yeah.
you're like,
like,
oh,
you
no, I
should-
know a lot about comics. And I know Angelina Jolie's cup size.
Angelina Jolie is a 36C and was padded to a 36D, still below what video game Lara Croft is measured at a 36 double D.
I will say at that point, they're probably right. and that was one of the big decisions they made when they did the reboot game series, is that they scaled her down, which upset a lot of people.
I'm a huge fan of the reboot games. They're way better games, and
They're written like a good movie.
Yeah.
And so there's character work, and there's good voice,
Yeah.
and there's all kinds of stuff.
Really well done. And
But
they
I will
made her lithe, athletic,
Yes.
lean, muscular, like someone who
And
could
one
do these
thing
things.
They did, in the games, the earlier games, if I remember correctly, you occasionally would use different weapons.
Yes.
But the reboot made her, very skilled archer and all this kind of thing. This movie is so just about, oh no, she just pulls out guns and goes bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
And I was a little disappointed by that. I was like, we know that Lara can use whatever.
Is over-reliant
and she throws the dagger, like, with deadly accuracy.
Yeah.
That was cool.
But then she doesn't really ever do that, importantly in the movie. I mean, there's the ridiculous thing at the end where she just turns the dagger backwards.
Well, she's in a time.
Oh my
thing.
God! Can I give you though a couple while we are going? And I at the time said, who else would it be? Apparently, other people were considered. Let me give you some alternate Lara Crofts.
I'm ready.
This first one is, you have to keep in mind of the year, right? Denise Richards.
Yes.
Which is so funny because if you remember, The World Is Not Enough, which came out the year before this, I do. She is dressed like Lara Croft in that movie. She's in the short shorts and tank top.
She is. They just
and something tells me that her consideration this is just my speculation, may have just been that someone saw the poster for that movie and went, oh yeah. Anyway,
I will say again, if all you're looking for, and it seems to be the case,
is the look.
Is the look.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But can you imagine?
No, God, because
her acting
once again,
and then B, try to imagine her doing an accent.
Oh God. Oh, I didn't even think of it. Yeah. Oh boy.
I know.
Oh boy. Yeah. Charlize Theron. Interesting that would be much more obvious later, but she wasn't yet Charlize Theron action icon that she is now.
Yeah, exactly. And again, that's just based on looks, but they would have had to triple pad her, no offense, if that's what they're going for, is who can fill out.
She would actually fit. She would fit more the modern.
Yeah,
Lara.
she would. Had that been our Lara Croft at the time.
Yeah. Here's a lazy choice. Uma Thurman, obviously, just like action lady.
Well, she got to whip out her amazing British accent in the Avengers, and we all loved it.
I mean, another choice though that made sense to me at the time. That casting choice,
Sure.
And then Liv Tyler, which once again is just like, I don't know, dark-haired pretty lady. I
think that's it.
Well, I guess Lord of the Rings comes around the same
Haley
time.
Atwell was alive at the time. Now, true, she may have been just 19 or 20, but still.
Yeah. And then
because she did voice her later.
She's on the animated series.
Yeah.
And then of course Demi Moore, because once again.
Really?
Yeah.
Because she was buff and she was doing acting stuff.
And once again, I feel like all these people ended up in because then not long after this, she does the Charlie's Angels movie where she's flipping around and shooting guns and stuff. So I
will say
it does feel like
they found the best of that.
Well, I think you're right
for the character.
In as much as the sad part of it being that they don't do anything with her. And then of course somebody who really wanted it and maybe had an argument for it was Rona Mitra, who was the model for the games,
and isn't a terrible actress.
No, she's all right.
She's just not. Yeah,
but
and
certainly
since she was the model, she looked exactly like.
I understand why she thought she should get it. I think they were just like, and we can't put you on a poster. And this was firmly a time. Obviously, this is still firmly a time where it's like, it can't just be Tomb Raider. We need a movie star in it.
Yeah. Actually, I would say that she would have been the best fallback again, above all those name actresses.
Agreed.
Because she's capable enough, and she definitely fit, and is actually British.
Yeah. I know, it is very interesting how few of those people we just talked about are British. they considered almost
we
no one.
certainly know that the incredibly talented Charlize is South African, but she can do that
She
British
can do.
accent.
What was she British in? She was. Is she British in the Old Guard? She might be British.
Well,
in
she's British in Arrested Development.
Yeah. Oh, of course. For British eyes only. Talk about one of my favorite Bond things. That whole arc. Mr. F. All right.
So good.
Yeah. So the plot, as it were, of the movie. We're not going scene by scene, obviously, but like,
No.
Of course, it's a MacGuffin hunt because every one of these movies. But the thing I think that's so interesting,
certainly fits the games. That's
it definitely
all they are.
Well, and a lot of the action set pieces really felt like Lara has to jump on a thing to get to a thing and put this thing into another thing just in time for these things to connect.
Get to that it does feel like the game, because here's my main problem. Well, no, but main problem. There are plenty of problems.
Yeah,
but the main problem is the lack of tomb rating.
There is
they
a
give us a fake out opening,
lack
a kind
of
of
tomb rating.
Bondy opening, but the thing is, most of the movie, half of the movie, it's only 100-minute movie, so 50 minutes of it, we're just in the Croft Manor. I mean, and action sequences happening in Croft Manor. I mean,
because we get this opening kind of fake out, classic action movie. Oh, it was a training exercise sequence.
Yes.
Which is lame.
She's in something that's like a tomb, but suddenly a big old robot's coming out.
I love that she has a tomb set in her house for training. Yeah.
Surrounded by plexiglass shielding, I assume, because she uses live rounds. So you've got like bulletproof acrylic.
I do like that Noah Taylor's character, whose name I can't possibly remember. I'm gonna have to look at here because
guy.
Bryce. Doesn't even sound familiar.
No.
Oh, I guess Anyway, but he's upset because he's like, "Hey, I built this incredibly advanced robot, and you just shot the shit out of it with real bullets. What are you doing?"
Yeah.
But of course, she's fighting this robot, and I remember even sitting in the theater and going, "Robots?" Like having played the games and being like,
supposed to make you go, "Huh?"
No, wait a minute. And then,
there
of course,
was a song from the early '90s, "Things That Make You Go, Hmm."
There you go.
And I think that's what we.
Well, that's very much how I felt seeing this movie for sure. Was like,
and the thing that she's after in this set, and before we know it is a thing, is that when she pops it out, turns out it is a little microchip thing that she shoves into the robot, and it's called Lara's Party Mix.
Oh man!
And at that point, I am done.
Yeah, I gotta say, well,
5 minutes in,
I will say I'm like, oh no, Lara Croft is super lame.
She listens to super lame music. Here's the thing that this movie showed me that I did not know from having played some of those games. She's down with the sickness. And she might be a fire starter.
Yeah, oh my god.
It's a lot of club music.
It is, and
I'm done.
Well, this is unfortunately, where Bond is at this moment. You get like Die Another Day after this that has all that bullshit in it too.
Yes.
It's just the nature of this. Also reminded me of Triple X that was around that same time, had this kind of music in it. Everything just had this.
I've never seen the trip. No, I shouldn't have said that.
No, I'm not going to make you watch the Triple X movies.
Thank you.
I should, though. You should meet Xander Cage and enter the Xander zone.
I'm okay.
Yeah, no.
I don't need to see him in his fluffy coat or whatever the hell the thing
yeah,
is.
man. There's a whole scene in the third one where he has to go get his coat.
Jesus.
Yeah. Anyway, but the main thrust of the movie is Lara is racing the Illuminati. That's right.
Yeah.
To get their hands on a magic triangle that, when the planets align once every 5,000 years, will allow them the mastery of time.
Yeah. Look, anytime the planetary alignment happens, which is every 5,000 years according to this, if you've got the eye or whatever the fuck it is, you can control time for a bit and become a god.
Yeah, I gotta say, this isn't, and I swear I will stop with the comparisons, but it's just so hard not to compare this to Indiana Jones.
No, of course.
You do go like, God, every one of those MacGuffins was so well set up, established. You understood the stakes of it. Like,
Yes.
even in the weaker Indiana Jones movies, you're pretty clear on what's doing. You know.
And they, just because you have such incredibly capable hands on every part of an Indiana Jones film, whether it's the writing, directing, so
Yeah.
forth, even the clunky exposition stuff, I could watch 45 minutes of Professor Henry Jones Jr.
Yep.
Talk about the Staff of Ra
Yep.
and the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah.
Him writing on the chalkboard, and I'm there for it.
Well, I gotta say, one of the things they don't let Lara be in this is she's crafty, but she's never really smart.
They show her in two different two different countries, being able to perfectly speak the language.
Yeah, I did.
That's good.
Yeah.
And when she's in the one tomb we get, she's able to interpret some stuff. That's just her running her finger along, going, "Ah, yes." And when this opens up, and you're like, "Well, okay, I could have used more of that."
Well,
and
but
I was thinking exactly the same thing. I want her to be the world's best archaeologist.
You want her to be like,
finder
ah,
of
yes,
things.
the triangle of planets. That's the thing about whatever. There's
And
no
she
scene
does
like
have a gut feeling about a couple of things where it's like, because Daniel Craig is also playing a side character from the games, at least a couple of them.
Alex West. Boy, that's a generic action guy name.
But here he is her competition, and they show him doing more of this stuff than her, but she's the one that goes, "No, you misinterpreted it. You need to do this." And you're like, okay.
The thing about it is that even when she's smart, though, it's that thing you're talking about with the posing, where it comes off as like, ain't no thing. I speak this language. Like, it just comes off as, yeah.
One thing that cracked me up was when they're in Siberia, and our Bobo Q,
Bryce.
Yes, Bryce is sitting there literally saying, "We buy all your doggies. A lot of American money."
Oh my God. Yeah.
She is 3 feet away.
Yeah.
And she speaks the local language perfectly.
Yep.
So why not let her handle that? No, because I guess we need a comedy beat of a dummy.
That is alleged comedy.
But at least, luckily, he's not American, so he's an ugly Brit.
Yeah,
we buy all your doggies, much American dollars.
Oh, and you know he's British because he says "bugger" like 8 times, and
he does say
and it's almost just like, are you kidding? The Brits say, I'm like, Simon West, your director is, you are British. My God, what are you doing? Oh my God, it was yeesh. That's the thing.
This movie.
Well, that's the thing. Is just like nobody's a character in it. Like I said, everything with her, it's a common problem, especially in this era. It's gotten a little bit better with female action heroes, where it's like, no, we're feminists, so she has no flaws. She has there's no point where she's weak.
Well, there's nothing for her to really work with. Well, that's true too. In addition to it being very posy, she gets a little sweaty at some point, but and it's true of the guys too. This movie, even though they have some really nice sets, and I won't fault them for a year 2000 CG, which feels absolutely there.
Yeah, so but I've seen worse from this. Yeah, but I've seen worse from this era. So,
I've seen worse. Yeah. I'll whatever. So,
yeah, but it's not good.
I'm sitting there going like, yeah, maybe grime them up a little bit. These places haven't been open in thousands of years.
No.
I mean, Indiana Jones is a sweaty fucking mess. It gets bloodied and all that kind of stuff. And you need that because it sort of makes it real.
Yeah.
You're like, no one should be able to take that much damage and keep going. But you get the great scene of him literally sitting there going like, it ain't the years money, honey, it's the mileage.
No, like everything with her, she barely even sweats.
She barely even sweats, man.
She's just unstoppable, and so at a certain point that becomes boring.
She's just here to make sexy quips.
Yeah,
that's all they really give her.
I gotta say, for two extremely sexy people, there is no heat between her and Daniel Craig.
No, however,
no,
there's no heat between.
Yeah,
but I will give this movie a half star.
Oh, I think I know where you're going with this.
Because they They did
They
equal.
they both have shower scenes where they're
Yes, they
and
both
I
have
mean,
shower scenes which mirror each other almost
yep.
perfectly.
And
And
actually,
you're
if
like,
anything, this movie kind of drinks in Daniel Craig a little bit more.
and I mean, I like that because I think that was smart filmmaking choice, simply because out of a lot of dumb choices they made,
Yeah.
because they knew going in,
Yeah.
because the games had already been slammed,
Oh,
even
yeah.
though they were incredibly popular. The big
But-
thing was it's just wank material for like pubescent boys.
But here's the thing about the games, right? Is like both things are true. They are good games, and come on,
Yes.
folks, come on, you knew
No,
what you were doing.
it
Yeah,
is.
right,
It's eye
yeah.
candy, and I've known plenty of women who've been inspired and turned on by Lara Croft.
Of
as well.
course,
So
of
it's like,
course.
guys, it's fine.
I think
It's fine to have beautiful
Yes.
heroes and heroines
yes.
in your games, comics, movies.
It's a big thing. Now, look, you can have conversation about gentrification. I think that's totally valid. But I do think something we just need to accept is everybody doesn't mind looking at pretty people. You know, I mean, like, it's a thing,
yeah.
right? It's just like, it's this cultural thing where it's just like, yeah, that's fine. I think this movie could have done a hell of a lot better writing her to be something other than that. But that's a different matter than just like, yeah, let them both be gorgeous. Although I will say, being the Bond fan I am like, he's a little scrawny here, actually. Even as cut as Craig is in this,
yes,
I'm like, he's not pumped up to Bond levels yet, is he?
He's not pumped up to what he brought to Bond.
I saw him
Because
come
Bond
out of
has
that
never
ocean.
Necessarily never really was meant to
Not
be,
before
like,
him. Well, kind of Connery by 60
kind of
standards.
Connery in the very early days,
Yeah.
because he had been Mr. Universe.
Yeah, although once
Let's
again
not
would be
forget
skinny
that
by
when
today.
it comes to the universe, he's the Mister of it.
And you know what? I'm absolutely fine with that. As somebody who
I love when you see the photos of him, and what is he, like 24 or something,
Yeah, yeah.
winning Mr. Universe?
Yeah.
And you sit there going, that's what Mr. Universe used to be.
Yeah, like he's pretty fit.
They are certainly athletic men. They
Yeah.
look good, but the muscle definition is like, no, that
look
didn't
at him
happen yet.
and then look at Craig coming out of the water in
Yes,
Casino Royale,
yeah.
and you're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I gotta say, Craig in this movie is fine. It's a similar thing to Angelina Jolie, though, where you're like, oh man, that's a guy with endless amounts of charisma and talent, and this movie just it won't let him go there. It just won't.
No.
He's just boring dude.
It gives him nothing to do, just like it gives her
Yeah.
nothing to do. There's only a couple
That
of
is,
beats.
I think that's a key thing here. Is just like everyone is equally undefined in this movie,
Right.
And
Yes.
like I said, the only reason I like Ian Glenn is because at least he's like got a vibe. You know?
Well, he's enjoying being
Yeah.
the mustache twirling bad guy.
Right.
He also gets to be suave, so it's not just like, I hate you and I will destroy you.
No.
He gets to be like gentleman bad.
He has
and-
one line in it where he's like, "They come at me crawling like babies." You know, you're just like, oh, you just made a meal out of that word, Ian Glenn, and I love it.
Yeah.
I love you for it, pal.
There are these little bits. Like, there's actually a couple of good bits and a couple of good lines.
Yeah.
I liked the bit where also like the fact that he's constantly willing, if she's willing,
Yeah.
to have her work with him. It's like, because
Yeah.
I appreciate that you know your shit.
That feels very
The scene-
Indiana Jones / Bond, right? Of the idea
Yes.
about like we're gonna do this parallel to each other in some way.
Right, but when she has infiltrated the Illuminati headquarters, whatever. I like the bit about, he's like pointing at the chair, and she goes, "And who sits there?"
Yeah.
And he's like, and she goes, "Because I know you don't." He goes, "No, I sit here to the right of it."
Yeah.
And I liked that little, there was a little bit of a interplay that was actually not about, boy, you're hot, and I would do you in a second. Instead, it was like, you've come to.
But
she
he does
sits
say that line verbatim later in the no.
Yeah.
You are hot, and I would do you in a second.
He does say that just before he.
By the way, his
kills-
character's name, Manfred Powell.
Yeah, Manfred Powell.
That's a bad guy name. That's good.
And there was also the redhead guy.
Oh, Julian Rind Tutt. Great British
Seen
name.
him and stuff.
Yeah, who plays Mr.
was like-
Pims. Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
British character actor who's in a lot of stuff. Yeah, I remember he's got a funny bit in Notting Hill, and he's in like a bunch of BBC
What
stuff.
I don't understand is he's Mr. Pims, and then he says, yes, like the drink. And I went, what?
Pim's
Is
Cup?
there a drink called Pims?
Pim's Cup is a thing.
Oh, okay.
What,
All right,
what
maybe
that,
that's a
what
cultural
that,
thing.
What that is, I don't know. Is a cocktail that
But
is
also because I didn't hear an M, I thought it was like Mr. Pibb. And he goes, yes, like the
Mr.
drink.
Pibb.
I was like, really?
Yes. A Pim's Cup is a cocktail popular in England. Yes.
All right.
One of numerous fruit cups.
That is a cultural thing I didn't get.
It's a gin-based cocktail of some sort.
I'm a dummy.
Well, it's in some spy movie. I'm sure somebody ordered a Pim's Cup or something that I watched. Who knows? So yeah, they're all running around looking for this triangle that Lara has half of for some reason. Because what are they trying to get?
No, she gets the triangle. The thing she has.
What is the thing she has? Because that's the.
She has the eye.
Yes.
The eye is also a key that will lead to her getting half of the triangle.
Oh, it's almost like it's the staff of Ra, Brendan. I don't know. That sounds awful.
It really is.
That's right, because she does hold it up to the. Yeah, she has that, and this will shock no one.
What's in it's most important.
I did have the action figure of her from this movie. No,
did you?
Yeah, shocking no one. This was a time when I was just buying the action figures from all of summer's blockbusters.
Was it like a GI Joe size one or like?
No,
bigger?
it was like a full 6-inch figure, and she could draw the pistols. But the base she was on was the triangle thing. The eye. It was the eye. That's why. And so when I saw that, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. That figure is probably still in my parents' house somewhere.
That's crazy.
I just bought anything, man. I was just, yeah.
I ended up with because when I was the video buyer at Virgin Megastore in San Francisco, and they bought all kinds of stuff, and you'd get freebies from vendors. I ended up with a Lady Death action figure.
Oh, nice.
I have never read a Lady Death comic, but apparently it's worth a lot now. But just because it was like a one and done.
Yeah.
So somewhere I've got that. And then my ex-girlfriend ended up voicing her in the one and only animated film.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, Christine, my ex-girlfriend, she is a big-time voice actress.
Yeah.
And does a lot of anime.
I know absolutely nothing about Lady Death.
She's white-skinned and has white hair and enormous breasts because she was created in the 90s.
Yeah,
if you were creating a heroine, she had to have enormous.
Oh, as you know, I was a comics reader in the 90s. I remember.
Yes, you were going through puberty at the time, and you said, "Thank you, comics." Is that what you said? You said, "Thanks."
No, I feel like even as a kid, I knew that was like so outside the realm of reality that it wasn't like a turn on. It was always just like, well, that's cartoonish. Yeah. There plenty of other things excited me, but not that. And actually, I will say, knowing that piece of trivia about the Angelina Jolie. There are times when it is very clearly not human breast tissue that is present in this movie. That I am just like, you're just like, yeah, that's not how a woman's body curves at all.
I will say, in a way, they threaded the needle pretty well. I'm sure you would still find people displeased, but I think they threaded the needle well of, here is some of that eye candy. Yeah. But we must not lean on it, and she is going to have no relationship with anyone in the movie, and there will be no sex scenes.
She gets some flirtiness of sorts.
There's some flirtiness, but they are focused on the action, which, I mean, the games, other than the fact that she was built that way, the games also did not have that kind of stuff.
We're actually surprisingly asexual in presentation. Yeah.
It was just level to level to level. Like, I've got to team up with this guy.
I gotta say,
and use these guns.
I somewhat recently tried to play the original Tomb Raider. I found it impossible to play on a modern system. Like, the controls are so clunky, and it just didn't.
It was PC for me.
I really struggled to play it in modern day.
I didn't play them contemporaneously until maybe, I don't know, a later game, but pre-reboot. they had been like remastered and put on PC years
Yeah.
ago, and I was like, all right, I'll play them.
I
And when you're using keyboard controllers, it's better
I
actually
actually
for
think
the
it would
old.
be a lot, especially now. Once again, it's so limited in how she moves, but you have the ability to
Yes.
move a character, but she's just like on a grid, so you're like, no,
Yeah.
no, don't, what are
Yeah.
you doing? Oh,
It's real hard in a lot of the early ones to know where you're actually on a
yes,
surface.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Luckily, the new ones
I
are very well done. Where it's
oh
like,
god,
oh, I know exactly where to leap.
the new ones,
My reflexes may not be good enough, but I know
yeah.
where and when.
No, I that the new trilogy of games I absolutely love. I used
Oh,
to
they're great.
I do have nostalgia for the original games though. I didn't have a PlayStation, but my childhood best friend, shout out to I know he's not listening, Julian Rawlinson, another great name.
Oh, wait, we always hear from Julian.
I
He's
wish
always writing in.
I wish he would actually. The J Man, we used to call him. And he had a place, and we would spend hours playing Tomb Raider and Tomb
yeah.
Raider 2
Yeah.
back in the 90s. And
Good.
yeah, we were.
You had to take care of like wolves and polar bears.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
had to take on some mummies. It was
Yeah.
always fun.
Do you find an interesting note I didn't notice but read in the trivia? She never shoots and kills a person in this movie.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah. That kind of interesting.
Not shoots and kills, but the dude on the bungee.
No.
guy's dead.
She what the
Yeah,
the
she
po-
stabs him and he falls.
the
and
the
he's
point
dead.
they make is for a character who's constantly pulling out two pistols, she never actually
Yes.
kills anyone with her guns.
Okay, with her guns.
That was what it
She
was,
does kill
was-
guys. That's right.
Yeah, but that's very interesting. That's like no, come on, man. I don't know why they chose to do that. Another thing that Angelina Jolie apparently was very resistant to wearing the shorts, but they were like they want the shorts though.
I was kind of surprised, and
They want
when I
the-
saw
the,
this
the
originally,
people want the shorts, Angelina.
Well, there's iconography.
Yeah.
So yes, I thought it was funny when the butler guy is like, "Please, won't you wear this dress?" And she's like, "No, thank you." Goes to her
Yeah.
closet, and it's just like muscle
Yeah.
tees and stuff. I thought that was kind of funny. But what I was expecting, that I'm sure most of the fans were also, she does wear shades in this movie, but they're 2000 shades.
Oh,
She never wears like the
they might
the
be-
John Lennon red shades that she
She's-
does in the games.
She's
She
in
never
a
wears
she's in
the
a
blue shirt.
no, never. I was surprised by. She always wears the black. But she and James Marsden from X-Men are in the running for the most 2000 sunglasses
Oh,
ever put
hells
on
yeah.
film. By the way,
Yeah.
I did see Marsden talk about he still has the sunglasses.
Oh, I'm sure I mean, wouldn't you keep that?
I mean, look, the fact he just kept the sunglasses, I'd be trying to get out of there with one of the visors. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what happened to Cyclops' visor. It was around here somewhere, I think.
And props departments should just ease up. Make
Well,
two instead of just one.
the
and then
biggest
let the
thing-
actor keep one. At
The
the end of
biggest,
movie.
the and I've told this probably on, I'm sure someone else has heard me say this, but Patrick Stewart's story about when Star Trek ended, literally series ended, he goes, "I'd like to take home one of my uniforms." They go, "That's great. We will take the
Oh, and
cost
they
of it
charge
out of
him
your
for it.
pay." Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're 7 seasons. And the show's over. You can't just gift that guy a Captain Picard uniform. What do you?
That's
Come
some
on.
bullshit.
He's made you millions upon millions of dollars. Come
That
on,
is some
man.
bullshit
Yeah,
right
that is horseshit right there.
I'm
Speaking
angry.
of that, according to the trivia, Angelina Jolie does still have the belt and holsters from this movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
those are cool.
Yeah. With the
She looks amazing. She looks amazing. Whether or not she's
But-
dead
but-
on accurate,
Well, but
Laura
once again,
changed up looks in the game.
if you look at the poster for this movie, which is just her in the costume with the guns, looking off to the side, that's the whole movie, though, right? It's just that she's just like, "I'm here," and we're like, "Yeah, what are you gonna do, Laura? Not much. Gonna bungee around." And
That's really all it is. The opening half of the movie is setting up a MacGuffin that, as you said, it's really never well explained.
no, I gotta say, this is one of those movies that as they're talking about the triangle and the planets, I'm just going like, I hope you're not expecting me to remember much of this.
And also, I mean, not that the world outside of biblical scholars were tracking, the Ark of the Covenant.
Right.
But when you get to things like the Holy Grail and the Raiders movies just did a good job of
A
saying
thing
like,
I, a
all
thing
right, you
I,
guys don't even know what Shankara stones are, but I'm going to make you understand
Well,
why they're
I mean,
important.
that was always the thing, right? Was that they were somewhat based in some sort of folklore or
Yes.
religion or something.
Yes.
I mean, even the Crystal Skull has a grounding in something.
Right.
You know, by the way, I just recently found out that Spielberg really fought the Holy Grail because he was like, they're going to compare us to Monty Python. People are going to think it's silly. And basically,
I'm glad that someone convinced
that
him
was that
to
was
not
old
worry
George.
about
I
it.
mean, one of the big things that convinced him was we won't call it Indiana Jones and the Holy Grail, and that kind of is like, okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
if we don't call it that, maybe
Yeah.
no, because obviously it really works for that movie, which is an incredible film. I will say it doesn't help when as soon as this movie was done, I don't know if you watched this on the Paramount app. I did. As soon as it was done, they went.
Yes.
They went. Do you want to watch Indiana Jones? Their
Oh, really?
recommendations immediately were 3 Indiana Jones movies. I'm just like, that doesn't
I
help.
I got the recommendation of the sequel.
Well, I got that, but then right next to that were 3 Indiana Jones movies.
That's of course perfect.
Yeah, where you're just like, oh right, they're like,
and
you
it
know,
is-
hey,
it
you
is
know,
just-
us at Paramount, we made some other better adventure movies, right?
It is completely a failure of this unfortunate franchise that it was immediately, this is the female Indiana Jones.
Yep.
But if the movie is not going to attempt the quality,
Well, yeah,
of
because
any of the
when we
Indiana
get
Jones
to the end of this movie, too, the other thing I was thinking about is because let's face it, I'm always thinking about this because I do think it's one of the
You are.
few movies that does capture some of the fun of Indiana Jones is 1999's The Mummy. Go ahead and take your drink, folks. I brought it up. The end of this movie when the like monkey things come to life and you're now slashing at these. I'm just going like, okay, so now we're doing like Brendan Fraser kind of stuff.
It does feel that way, and it feels that way, to its detriment because again, it's not as good.
No,
It's just
and it
not
also
as good
feels
as
like
even
tossed
the Mummy.
in.
So you're like,
It-
wow, if it's not as good as a close to
Yeah.
Indiana Jones thing,
I
this
still
is
don't
like
think The
third
Mummy
or
is as
fourth
good as
level down.
Indiana Jones, but I think that one to me comes maybe the closest to capturing that the first Mummy, the first
Yeah,
Mummy. But it does sort of feel like they're like, I don't know, we need a third act with some CGI creatures, so because that kind of comes out of nowhere. All of a sudden, these things come to life just to be like, yeah.
I mean, that does happen in the games. Again,
It
you
does.
fight
But
things like that.
But that's the thing. Is like even when it is stuff from the games, it just sort of feels like, like
Yeah,
I think that
again, it feels weightless mainly because there are no stakes in this.
it doesn't feel like anyone working on this movie is doing it because like, oh, it's from the games and I love the games.
Even when Alex West dies,
Yeah.
you're not gonna go. You're just sitting there going like, right? They've already set up this thing is about time travel.
Yeah,
though they're trying to fake us
immediately
out with she's gonna try and get her dad back. But yeah, this movie has its cake and eats it too because they did. She does get to meet him, but it's in this like time envelope, and he's like, "Oh no, you can't
Yeah.
bring me back, but it's so good
Man,
to see you." I hope you're doing
whatever they
great."
paid John Voight, oh, he did not earn whatever that was for his one day in that tent.
Yeah, yeah. But he got to say a lot of wise words to her.
Yeah.
And here's one thing that let us down about how she's supposed to be, again, so brilliant,
Yeah.
is that he basically sets everything up for her.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, he's like, okay, there's this thing called the Eye, and it's going to be in that. Remember that place we went to that had the jasmine? Yeah, it's going to be in that thing. She literally is given a map, sort of, and so in other words, she works for very little of it, except for dodging some bullets here and there, and just dumb.
Yeah. By the way, apparently, as of at least last year, Angelina Jolie and John Voight are not on speaking terms.
You hate to hear it.
You do. I mean, you do.
But I have read some of his tweets, and even as crazy as I believe that Angelina Jolie may be, I think her politics are on the right side.
Well,
or
she's.
I'm sorry, the correct side.
Yeah. That's not where her crazy comes from.
He's an insane conservative old dude, and
Yeah.
that's a shame.
Isn't it always so weird to me that guys like him who are like part of the counterculture become
Yeah.
conservative? So weird.
So weird. But then you get people that just went even more virulently, like De Niro, and I sit there going, God
Yeah.
bless you, man, because you just don't give a shit.
The guy,
anymore.
he's just showing up at award shows going, yeah, fuck Trump. Okay.
Yeah, and the thing is, even if it's like a sit down with like Drew Barrymore,
Yeah.
where it's like painfully cutesy, and then he's like
Yeah.
going, "Can I take a minute here to just go,
Yeah.
fuck Trump and this administration is destroying?" I'm like, God bless you, man.
Yeah, man. De
You
Niro.
use your platform to speak out.
Yeah. He's
right,
got
anyway.
some thoughts about vaccines I'm a little questioning of, but beyond that, De Niro's
Oh
doing
no,
all right.
does he really?
Yeah, he keeps it quiet, but he said some stuff that I'm like, uh-oh.
No, because I'm agreeing with so much of his stuff.
He's one of those like, I need to see more research kind of guys. And I'm like, oh no. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. Don't be that
Don't
guy.
be that
Not to get
guy.
political on this show. We just lost half the audience, but
That's okay. So there's one person listening right now.
we lost. Hi, Gergoni.
It's okay. To continue,
yeah.
Lara Croft not served well by this movie.
No, and
but she sure does.
I don't like I said, I don't blame Jolie, but like even scenes where like the scene where she busts into the auction and she does the cool like sit down with her leg over a chair, it's just like
that just feels so painfully hip. They're trying to make her this rebel bad girl,
which is so weird because it's like we talked about, she actually is cool. Why are you working to make her cool? That's the thing that it's just like I don't understand that you've already got a character who can do a lot of cool stuff. You got an actress who can pull that off, and yet you're constantly like, yeah, we better goose this some more. Get the sunglasses in there, get the music pumping, get her being like I said, like almost every scene, every time she does anything, she's just like when she leaps on top of that big thing that's smashing into the thing of water. And she just does it like I said, that's where she's missing not just Indiana Jones, but a John McClane or anything that we love about action heroes who are like, what the fuck am I about to do, right? Like,
there's
I just want some more. She's like,
even
ooh.
superhero movies succeed best when they show effort. Mm-hmm. You know, that's the thing is you can be Superman, but even, by the way, in the teaser, we see him, and that's a smart thing, we see him beaten and bloodied.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I like that. A lot of people don't, but I'm like, it should be a challenge.
Absolutely.
When people are, it's a difference between if you are competent, certainly I want my hero to be competent, but I like them to have to work for stuff instead of just like, because what's the challenge?
Yeah.
The games can't give you that. But the game is you.
Yeah.
The challenge is you.
Not at that time. Obviously, the newer games do, but they have much more advantage.
Oh yeah, of course. But the graphics greatly improved, so you see her bleed and stuff. In the early game, she's pixels, and but
even still, there's your
the
failure.
Challenge is you are the one in charge of making her leap and jump, and she can fall to her death.
Yeah,
man, that first reboot. I saw her die so many times on that Whitewater Rapids thing. And I was like,
shit.
It's like torture porn. And I was like, can we dial that down?
Yeah, she dies in some terrible ways in that game.
I know.
Really horrific. Yeah, stuff that will haunt me to my dying days. Dear God.
Felt like I was letting her down so bad.
I do. That is the thing as a video game, being I think we're both more casual gamers, but when I play them, it is sort of a thing where I'm like, no, now Batman sucks because I'm him.
Yes, I am the worst Batman there is ever.
You know what you never see Batman do? Oh, what door is this again? Oh, fuck, I gotta find a thing here. Jesus.
I gotta say, Arkham City, I found maybe half of the Riddler things.
You never see Batman realize a door is locked and then turn around.
Oh, my God.
This is not it. I better, oh, shit.
But yes, Lara got better games, and we won't be talking about it, but did she get a better take movie-wise?
Well, we'll talk about what next week's movie is, and then there will be Michael Listman will be on for the later movie of the adaptation of that. Although that didn't set the world on fire either. So now, as you would expect, she's going to TV. Amazon is doing a Lara Croft television series.
And if they're going to use the reboot trilogy as.
I would assume that would be what they're going on.
Then I think it'll be great.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge is showrunning, so that's.
You mean my future wife?
Calm down. She's not in
Sorry,
it. She's gonna be
I know,
writing
I know.
and showrunning it. Sophie Turner is playing Lara Croft.
Sophie Turner.
Sansa Stark.
Oh, well, she's British. She's
Yeah.
lovely.
They'll
by
the way,
to pat her. I don't know.
I don't think if we're doing the modern, she is built more like the modern Lara Croft.
They'll have to dye her hair.
Yeah, but I do think it's kind of funny that she is the first actually British actress to play the part.
God bless her. Yeah.
We had an American woman and a Swedish woman player before this.
Yeah.
You know,
They were just too chicken.
Yeah.
To get a real.
Let's
grip.
turn to something I do, if it's possible, on the show, because I don't always have reviews from this guy. But I know you're wondering, and I'm wondering, what did Roger Ebert think of this movie?
I have a feeling I know where his eyes went.
He might have been a big fan of it. The first sentence of his review, I so badly want to get on the wavelength of this because it sounds like something I would say, but I don't agree with him about this movie. Lara Croft Tomb Raider elevates goofiness to an art form. I wish. Here's a movie so monumentally silly, yet so wondrous to look at, that only a churl could find fault.
Wow, only a churl.
That
I just love the fact
always
he's pulling churl out.
That's Roger, baby. That's Roger right there. Never forget.
But for half a second, I thought you said only a churro, and I was like, well, yeah,
only a
I
delicious cinnamony, sugary
not
confection
a movie that was made for a delicious dessert treat.
Yeah. He's just talking because he goes like, and then he goes on to write about like people always write in that I don't like enough popcorn movies. Well, here's one I do like.
Okay, you picked a bad one, buddy. Not a bad one, but it's certainly not elevating anything to anything.
Yeah. Angela.
I don't think it's even. I mean, I think it's purposely winky, but I don't think they aimed for goofy. So again, he's giving it credit there too.
Yeah, no, he's really because he goes on. He goes, okay, it's not as good as Indiana Jones, but damn, it's getting it's like ooh, and of course, oh Jesus, let's see here. He's talking about. Is it cold on the tundra and everyone wears fur-lined parkas? Everyone but Lara, whose light gray designer cape sweeps behind her, so we can admire the tight matching sweater she's wearing, which clings tightly to those parts of her body that can be found a foot below and a little to the front of her great ears.
Oh my God, Roger, Jesus Christ!
Ever the horn dog, ever. My God, it never ends.
I didn't read his book, and I understand it's amazing. I didn't see the documentary about it either.
Both are wonderful. I mean, look, I say this lovingly because I love the man. He is my favorite.
He was married for many, many, many years
to a wonderful woman. Chaz Ebert has done an incredible job of keeping his legacy alive. She's an amazing woman.
I would just be interested. How she handled that, because her husband's job is reviewing movies, but he's constantly.
I will say,
"Oh my God, the boobs on that."
I
girl,
think if you watch the documentary, you will see that she had a real like, "Oh, Roger" attitude of like, she gives as good as she gets sort of thing. I think so. It's just like, "Oh, Roger."
Roger.
Yeah. Here he goes. Did I enjoy this? Did I enjoy the movie? Yes. Is it up there with the Indiana Jones pictures? No. Although its art directions and set design, especially in the tomb, and I don't agree with that though. they're decent.
It looked like they spent some money,
but it doesn't look as good. The art direction, yes, it looks expensive, but it's not as good an art directed film as an Indiana Jones picture by any sense. Was I filled with suspense?
It's the unfairest comparison.
Yeah. Was I filled with suspense? No, since I had. No idea what was going to happen, should happen, shouldn't happen, or what it meant if it did happen. I actually do agree with him on that. But I did grin with. Did I grin with delight at the absurdity of it all? You betcha.
He must have had a rough day before, and he's like, "Oh, thank God, it's just some blang, 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 and boobs."
Oh, Jesus!
I'm happy.
Yeah, I think he might have just reviewed the poster. Actually, that was just. Well, I saw this in the lobby, and it's the best movie of the year.
Some of the movement and it's great.
Yeah.
They just sort of took the poster and they danced it
Not
around
since
in
he
front of me.
told us that The
Great.
Howling 2 had Sybil Danning giving us 2 reasons to see the movie. Have I been this? Oh, Roger. I did. Yeah, it's not as fun as when I played the clip from Siskel and Ebert about Mortal Kombat. If I find audio clips, I will play them. By the way, did you notice that there was a Tomb Raider mix of the U2 song Elevation? U2
Tomb Raider mix.
U2 did specifically a Tomb Raider version of their song Elevation for this
and
movie.
where is it in the movie?
That I do not know.
Wow. Okay.
I wish I could help you there. I'm just looking at the soundtrack here. Yeah. I was just surprised to see
lyrics showed up.
No, yeah. It just because the whole movie, all the music in the movie is just like
yeah, that's it.
It's just like so it all blends into this noise. Because I'm looking at like Outkast has a song in the movie and 9 Inch Nails has a song in the movie. I'm like, where were these? The Chemical Brothers, obviously. This is very Chemical Brothers heavy.
It just sounds like club music.
Yeah. Ever in a club. All right, I told you, Brendan, that this movie pulled in a healthy $274.7 million worldwide. What I want you to do, as we do every week on this show, where I have the top 200 movies of the year at the box office. Where do you think? Take your best guess as to where this thing landed in the 2001 top 200.
Oh man. In the top 50.
In the top 50.
Which is me playing it pretty safe.
Yeah. Number 14.
Wow. Much
Number
higher
14.
than I thought.
Pretty good. Of course, the top grossing film of the year was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
I saw that, and I saw it in the theater.
I saw all 5 of the top 5s in the theater this year.
I gotta say, my attention in that movie is mainly drawn to something about a foot below Robbie Coltrane's beard, and then a foot up from his belly button.
The rack on Coltrane, man. Am I right?
On Hagrid.
Woo, boy.
Woo. That's where I was looking.
I went, Valentine from James Bond is in this? Because of course I did.
Come on.
That's Robbie Coltrane.
People exist outside of the Bond franchise.
No, they don't. But do you have any idea how much restraint I did to talk as little about Bond as I did on this episode?
I'm very proud of you.
Because my favorite Bond is in this movie. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
My second favorite.
The best Bond, Daniel Craig. I will accept. I mean, look, I know you're a Connery guy.
I'm a Connery guy.
Yeah. That happens a lot. I just had a conversation in my parking garage the other day about that because I have a 007 sticker on my car. Guy I don't know at all. He just goes, "Hey, favorite Bond." I'm just like, "I don't know you, sir," but he saw and I go, "Well, Daniel Craig," and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a Connery guy," and I was like, "You over 50? Yeah, all right, that makes sense."
Oh, hey, ageist.
I do think there is a thing there, and I love Connery. Look, I love Connery, of course.
You saw Connery as Bond before you ever saw Craig.
Yes.
Even you did, and you're younger than me.
Though I think I've said this. I think I saw Roger Moore first. I think that was actually the first guy because I still kind of love Roger.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
But being a kid, of course, those are the ones you gravitate towards.
You and his family are the biggest proponents of Roger Moore's Bond.
Well, like I said, I think also being an actual child, the Roger Moore movies really were a good introduction.
It's
before
true.
Things get,
Man, that pigeon, he can't believe what he just saw.
But what? A gondola on land? Anyway, here were the other top 5s. I said number 1 was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Number 2, Shrek, the first Shrek.
Okay, yeah, definitely could see that.
Monsters, Inc. Is number 3. Yep. Rush Hour 2 at number 4. And at number 5...
it has its fans, but yeah.
I enjoy the Rush Hour movies. I wouldn't say I love them or anything, but I saw all of them. They were
crazy successful, which is why it's on that list right
I saw all of them. Like I said, I saw all 5 of these. And of course, past episode, if you're a listener of Campbell and Jones Meet the Monsters, The Mummy Returns at number 5.
Oh, wow.
A big old hit despite being a not amazing movie.
Nope.
Roger Ebert does, in his review, point out that this is much more enjoyable than that, to which I would argue, I don't know. I think I might still like The Mummy Returns more than this.
Well, again, here's
because
the
I
thing
like
about
the characters
Mummy and
more.
The Mummy Returns is that they are purposefully leaning into fun times and comedy.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. I think
and it not all of it lands, but at least
it's more charming
there's an
than
entertainment
this.
level of charm and comedy,
Like,
and you're just happy to be along
even
for
if
the ride.
that's a much weaker version, like the Vice Fraser chemistry is worth it alone, right? Like that's the problem with the third one is once you lose that, then you're like, okay, we're kind of missing the heart of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Let's look at some highs and lows here to finish up as we
I'm
often
ready.
do. Okay. Oh wait. Hold on.
Oh,
Okay.
you lost it.
This comes to us from IMDb user the Argent Wolf, who describes the title of the review: "The best video game turned movie."
Argent Wolf. You know what I'm starting to think? Grendel fan. He's a comics fan.
I see it. I see it. Yeah.
All right.
Being a nerdy addict of the game, I personally couldn't wait for the film, so I'm glad that I wasn't disappointed. Sure, true, Tomb Raider comes from a long line of games that are turned into movies, but I definitely think this is by far the best. I thought Angelina's acting and accent was brilliant, and I can't think of anyone else who could have been more suited to playing Lara. The chemistry between her and Daniel Craig was so good. The plotline was good too and stayed loyal to the general idea of the game. In fact, I think the film should have been made into a game in its own right. Another thing I liked about this movie was the soundtrack. The right music was fitted into the right place. The right music was fitted into the right places, and I think it is one of the best movie soundtracks available. 10 out of 10 stars.
Wow.
Yeah. There had to have been, because I remember having these, there had to have been Tomb Raider, the album, right? Because I had Spider-Man, the album. I had Daredevil, the album. I had Blade 2. I think you know what movies I was obviously being drawn to.
Yes. I have none of those.
Yeah.
Never did.
Yeah. Here's somebody, though, who has a very different opinion.
I'm ready.
This comes to us from, I don't know how you would, SPRJKR Spurgiker?
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. This is a little bit longer one. And I will say, man, this is a bold claim. Worst summer movie since Speed 2. Ever since seeing the greatly hyped sequel to Speed 2 Cruise Control, I thought Hollywood would never create a summer that terrible again. I was wrong. Yes, despite that summer movies are made for their popcorn, eye-catching appeal, and you do rarely see an Academy Award nomination other than Best Sound or Visual Effects, Tomb Raider has to be the worst summer movie since Speed 2, where one feature of the movie was lacking, such as the storyline. I look to another feature of the movie, the action scenes, to be just as disappointed. To begin, let's begin with the terrible storyline and characters. The storyline lacks in any intensity or danger. Not once did I ever feel Lara Croft was in any danger or even got really that beat up. We agree with that, other than a scratch on her arm, that the monk's tea healed, and a bloody lip. Also, the characters were terrible except for Jolie's, and even then the fake English accent and the badass attitude about wherever she just decided to parade through was ridiculous. Indy at least had to sneak. I love that he doesn't even introduce. He just goes right to, Indy, my friend Indy, who we all love, of course. Indy at least had to sneak around for fear of being caught or killed. Then there is her little buddy who designed all her gizmos and lived in a trailer. Oh, we didn't talk about that. I do like that he lives on a trailer on her estate.
I thought that was they tried to.
That's
in
almost
very
something.
Small ways give a character bit, but again, there's
almost
something
something.
There.
It's almost a character.
Almost a character.
Yeah.
She's like, I have 85 rooms. Why do you insist on staying in this trailer? And he's like, I need my space. It's like, okay, that's cute.
The only cool thing about her gear was the backpack that she reloads her guns with. I'm going to pop out. I actually do agree with that. When she lowers the part of her backpack that's just magazines for the gun, pretty cool.
It was
pretty cool. Oh, except for...
I did clock that as like, hey, I bet John liked this.
Of course I did. Except for... I like that she only used it after she had fired like 120 rounds from those guns.
I know.
Like, it's just like, oh, I'm sorry, now we need to reload.
Infinite bullet situation, and then they give us this one little bit where she's got
just because they wanted to do that. But I'm just like, oh, up to this point, she's never once considered how many rounds she has in there. By the way, the guns are just they're way more insane than the ones in the game. Like, they really over-designed these guns. She's got full-on, like, sci-fi movie guns in this anyway. I was hoping for at least a wide range of gizmos and gadgets or something. By the way, that's not really a thing from the game. This isn't James Bond. She has stuff, but I don't remember. It
honestly feels weird that they created the Q-type character because, as you point out, she's not really a gadget person.
No, I mean, she's kind of like...
She uses different weapons.
Just different weapons, but yeah, beyond that, I don't remember much beyond like a compass or a flashlight or, Indiana Jones stuff. Anyway, who knew handheld lanterns have no off switch? Remember, she had to hide it behind a rock?
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Furthermore, who was Powell and who was West? You never know if there was any romantic past or not between West and Croft. All you know is that West is the ever redundant in it for the money character. By the way, I'm actually glad this is giving me a lot to go off. West is kind of ill-defined in that way because they want him to be the Belloc and the Marion.
Yeah,
and that's tough because it's like she goes like, "Oh, you're the piece of shit who's only in this for the money," but then you're like, other than the fact that he's working for Ian Glenn, he seems okay.
Yeah. You don't get if they're trying to be cute with implying past. Maybe we need to know what drove them apart, or if she says something like, you were great right up to that time you betrayed me and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Let me read this. Also, why is Powell so bad other than... Oh, that's Powell he's talking about now.
That's Powell.
Other than being a lawyer.
Other than the fact that he works with the Illuminati and is trying to, take over time.
I do like his... it made me think of Firefly when he kills the Illuminati and it's the curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, this guy has been basically acting like, I'm going to betray every single one of you. All right.
Were you trying to do your Ian Glenn right then?
No, I wasn't actually. My Ian Glenn. I can do his weird Bruce Wayne voice.
Yeah.
Because he actually does have the right register, but when he brings it to that flattened American accent, it makes him sound weird like this.
Yeah, it makes it sound very just.
Even though, like I said, like we said,
and flat.
That casting made a lot of sense. I remember being like, "Oh, I see it," but yeah. Anyway, now for the worst part of the movie: the action sequences. Now, keep in mind what I'm about to read, Brendan, is all in caps with like 10 exclamation points.
Oh boy!
Completely unoriginal. To begin with, the action scene in the beginning is straight out of the opening action scenes of Indiana Jones. Is it? I mean, other than the initial thing of her kind of sneaking around
in a fake tomb, and
I don't remember Indiana Jones ever fighting a big robot. I mean,
maybe it's the fact that they opened with a important action sequence, but that's also Bond.
Yeah, I was gonna say that they took that from Bond. Yeah,
another thing.
Yeah. Next, we move to the
But
bungees.
even in Raiders, that is to set up Belloc. I mean, even if the fertility idol is not the main thrust of the movie...
There is nothing in this world you can possess that I can't take from you, Dr. Jones. Oh.
I speak Jovitos. And you're like, oh, Jesus.
Oh, man, Paul Freeman does not get enough credit, man.
Perfect villain to kick that thing off.
So good. Well, yeah, because he's the dark mirror of Indy. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next, we move to the bungee scene. Here we have a ripoff of the pulley scene in the computer room from the first Mission Impossible.
Oh.
Kind of.
So if you use wires at all, you're ripping off.
I mean, I would say
this guy's really stretching. But yeah.
Then we go to the car garage of Croft's abode, and here we find more 007 cars than I've ever seen. Not to mention the MacGyver like drill scene, then the motorcycle up on one wheel, and all. Again, Mission Impossible, but this time from part 2. Where to next? Ah, yes, the actually original fight scenes that were lame. I never knew fighting a 5,000-year-old armored statue could be so easy. Just one good whack to the gut and down they go. What else? Ah, yes, the Back to the Future references. I believe I remember Doc Brown telling Marty McFly to destroy the time machine because it brings nothing but trouble and bring nothing but evil if it fell into the wrong hands. All right, hold on. Back to the Future didn't invent that. That's like every time travel story.
Yeah, this guy is...
Most Doctor Who
is
episodes.
looking for, things to peg as being stolen from.
Yeah.
But I'd say these are widely used tropes.
Yeah.
And they weren't sitting there going, and then, remember that thing in Back to the Future? Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop
Anyway, but no, being led out of the ice cavern. So they talk about the Illuminati would just be running around looking for the other piece of the triangle, not knowing that Lara had already destroyed the other half. Bada bing, movie over. But no, being led out of the ice cavern by a team of dogs. Again, I think of Indy being dragged behind the Nazi truck by his whip. That's reaching. Though I did find her being pulled by the dogs to be kind of stupid. But
yeah.
But it's not. Once again, Indiana Jones didn't invent being pulled by things. All right, here's the last paragraph. I'm sorry if you found my rantings offensive if you really like the movie that much. I'm aware this is a summer movie, but as far as summer movies go, this ranks down there with Speed 2. Speed 2 really did a number on this guy.
He's never been the same.
This movie is just plain terrible. I didn't find anything really that interesting or exciting about it. It's a movie that I left feeling like I've seen hundreds of times before. At least it wasn't as bad as Speed 2. But it's the worst one I've seen since it. I'm dreading the sequel. I don't know why Paramount is going to want to make another installment. But hey, sometimes you get lucky. That is, if you have better writers, directors, and actors. Video game movies should stay where they belong, in my opinion, on our televisions and PCs. I was hoping perhaps this time they could make something out of it. I've been let down again. Although Final Fantasy might be good, let's hope for video game movies' sake. 1 out of 10 stars. Spoiler, the Final Fantasy movie was not great. But anyway, we won't be covering that because it's
was that the animated one?
Animated, yeah. That's why we won't be covering it on this season. We're only doing live action to not be doing this forever once again. Bad news for this guy. How upset was he, because this was obviously written when this movie came out, how upset was he when they announced the director of Speed 2 for the next Tomb Raider movie?
I know. Oh my God. But
that's right. It's Jan de Bont next week, folks.
I don't agree with either of those guys.
Because this is not
them.
an extreme. It's the classic internet thing.
And Speed 2 is so much worse.
Oh, way worse. Way because Speed 2 is like unwatchable. This isn't unwatchable, but you're just going like, it's just so forgettable. The only thing I agree.
So many other things. You know what? I'm looking over at some trash that needs to be taken out and some dishes that need to be washed.
Yeah,
that would have been a better use of my time.
Yeah, this is you can definitely get up, walk out, come back, and you'll probably be fine. I don't think you're gonna miss much. The only thing I agree with that last guy on, in principle, is the idea that yes, there's a lot of recycled stuff here. I don't think it's not nearly as egregious as he's pointing out, but it is sort of like there is not. They're recycling that stuff without putting too much of a spin on it. It's not like, oh, this is our version of a truck chase or our version of this, or here's the wrinkle in our bungee scene that makes it.
I agree that it feels unoriginal, but again, that would be for pretty much any weekly.
Man, when she shot two guns at the same time, I've seen that in John Woo movies, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm sitting there going, all it needed was to be smarter, and it also probably could have used being more like the game. Very often with the video game, they eat adaptations, and I'm sure that you've watched all these.
We're still somewhat early in the run of it, but yeah.
Going full bore, like just copying the game is a mistake, but going so far away from it, a la Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose the fans. There is a trick. You do have to.
And I think this movie sailed by on enough goodwill, right? People went to it. It wasn't awful. People liked the games. People liked Angelina Jolie, especially at this point. So obviously people went and they made next week's movie. What's next week on the show? Why, just 2 years later, it's 2003, and it's Lara Croft Tomb Raider, Tomb Raider dash The Cradle of Life.
Yeah, I'd hate to be the person who has to watch that.
Oh wait, Brendan, I have exciting news for you. You're back next week for that.
Oh shit!
Like I said, this is a movie where honestly, I probably saw it, but I have no memory of it. I will say I am very excited because we don't have Daniel Craig next week, but you know who we do have.
Who do we have?
Jerry Butler.
Oh,
that's right. He's here. He's here.
Does he play an American?
I don't.
Because
That's
that'll
the
be
thing.
great.
I don't know. I will say, having
Oh
seen.
wait, this is the start. This is the one that kicks off the character in the Down movies,
Oh,
right?
you're talking about Secret Service agent Mike Banning.
Yeah, I think he plays Mike Banning.
American
in,
Mike Banning. I will say this is pre movie stuff. I mean, they did kind of luck into. I will give them credit for finding two future action stars to be
Yes.
their leading men. They called it correctly. Actually, the next one is a pretty good cast because we got Kieran Hines. I'm assuming playing the villain.
Yeah.
Because that's and Jaimin Hansu, who I love, is in it as well. Although I'm a little scared based on photos I see of him in the African robes here, how they're going to present him in it.
You're just gonna have to accept it.
Yeah. The big thing in this one is she wears like a skin tight wetsuit.
Yeah.
That's the whole promotion for it. Is like
the poster was always she's in this silver skin tight suit that makes her look a little bit like 7 of 9.
very much so.
And I'm sitting there again thinking, dude, whether or not I didn't know she didn't like the shorts, but I'm like, just put her in the shorts and the blue shirt.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say that because
At
she
least
obviously
they kept her in the ponytail. You know.
But I will say something for the next movie. We'll definitely. Well, we don't have to talk about much. She had the clout to be like, yeah, no more padding, and we all could tell, right? It's all just like Angelina Jolie. I think is fairly well thought of as a well endowed actress, and so just the idea is like, no, but come on.
She's not on the that poor girl side. She is robustly built.
Yeah, so it is just a
really
thing
need
where
the
it's like
padding in the first.
I don't think if I didn't read that in the trivia, I don't think I would have been able to tell you that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And yes, we have Jan de Bont at the helm, and oh boy, a couple of big name studio writers, Stephen E. D'Souza and James V. Hart, are credited with next week's movie.
Wow,
So
Jim Hart.
They brought in the big guns.
I got to learn at his feet.
I know you have a little bit of a connection to
Really
James,
nice guy.
James V. That's good to hear.
However, I don't remember this as being a good movie. So
no, I don't. But he just has story by credit on it, so take from that what you. These do seem like movies where they're like, "Hey man, we need a second Tomb Raider movie. You got anything?" You know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
let's make some bullshit up called The Cradle of Life.
I will say
great,
this
perfect.
is the movie that made Jan de Bont go, directing's not worth it anymore, and he's never directed since.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
this was his last directorial effort?
Yeah, because fuck it.
Wow.
His attitude seemed to be like, it's not worth it.
So do we owe this movie a debt of thanks?
I don't know. I mean, the guy came out the gate with like one of my favorite movies, though. I mean, Speed is incredible.
Yeah, but okay, I can't say that the direction wasn't part of it. I was
Absolutely,
really
he directed
about
the shit out of it,
script
though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Twister is good, if not amazing.
Oh, Twister's so cheesy, but
Twister's
that's not
fun.
as-
It doesn't. But the sharp fall off from Twister to Speed 2 to The Haunting to Lara Croft Cradle of Life. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Is it's just like those three. I think it was the combination of those three. That he's just like, it's not worth it anymore, man. It's just not worth it. Anyway, so we'll be talking all about Jan de Bont next week.
oh boy. Looking forward.
Yeah, but I think that's going to wrap up this episode. Until next week, the case file is closed.